Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tanya Rivero. Thank you for joining us tonight for our CBSN Originals, North Korea, The Art of Surviving Sanctions. The first year of the Trump presidency was marked by an escalating feud between the United States and North Korea, but a tit-for-tat war of words and promises of fire and fury were surprisingly extinguished. President Trump declared success in June 2018 after a historic summit in Singapore with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. The commander-in-chief touted that through apt negotiations and newfound friendship, the regime was no longer a nuclear threat.
But we signed a very, very comprehensive document, and I believe he's going to live up to that document. In fact, when he lands, which is going to be shortly, I think that he will start that process right away. And now we're well on our way to get denuclearization. And the agreement says there will be total denuclearization. Nobody wants to report that. So the only thing I did was I met. I got along with him great. He is great. We have a great chemistry together. That's a good thing.
But a recent report suggests that may not be the case. According to the New York Times, North Korea is actually moving forward with its ballistic missile program and provides satellite imagery of over a dozen hidden North Korean bases known to American intelligence agencies. This all comes despite a maximum economic pressure campaign on North Korea from the United States. U.S.-imposed sanctions have been restrictive. The goal is to ultimately hinder Pyongyang's development of nuclear technology and trade. Meanwhile, denuclearization of the Korean peninsula does not seem to be tangible anytime soon. We're getting a closer look at one way the isolated country has been able to evade U.S. sanctions. And as CBSN Originals learned, it is literally an art form for the regime.
The North Korean missile was fired from the capital, Pyongyang, and flew over U.S. ally Japan.
The man killed was, in fact, the half-brother of its leader, Kim Jong-un.
A North Korean soldier has defected by crossing the heavily armed border with the South.
These are the images we see of North Korea, or the DPRK, the world's most isolated country. But in the fringes, there are those who paint a different picture.
Wow. Very surprising.
Nigerians, they want to get close to the DPRK.
In a rare look at how cultural forces keep the regime afloat.
This is all North Korean art.
All North Korean art. 老鼠的眼睛一直盯着你找。
Yeah, I see that.
We uncover an expansive network of friends and allies in unexpected corners of the globe.
The mother of Kim Jong-un, she was born here.
もらった時にいわゆる北朝鮮すごいたくさんお金を。
A new day in relations between the United States and North Korea.
At this historic crossroads, will this all pay off?
That sanctions have never worked.
And help North Korea come in from the cold.
The work was done by the North Korean society. Unreal.
We came to the city known as the cradle of Western art to meet two brothers who are art connoisseurs. Eugenio Ceccioni served as the director of the prestigious Academy of Fine Arts in Florence, while Pierluigi Ceccioni is an entrepreneur who dabbles in the art world.
That, for instance, is very strange. If you think of Leonardo da Vinci as a supper, and almost all suppers are on a long table, and this is a round table. We Italians know these things.
But the pair aren't simply interested in Renaissance art. They possess something much more alluring and rare.
This is all North Korean art.
All North Korean art.
Tucked away on a quiet avenue in the outskirts of town, the Chechony Brothers showroom boasts one of the largest private art collections from North Korea.
We show this, but it isn't meant for people to come in. We keep the works here.
This is quite amazing here. I've never seen North Korean art in person before, so can you walk me through?
Yeah, he's a military, always happy, smiling, working in a field. In North Korea, they pay very much importance to work.
I see a tape recorder.
That's probably sort of like a karaoke. North Koreans sing.
We defend ourselves from American products. Do not be fooled by US's disguises. This is an interesting look into the psyche of the North Koreans.
The brothers acquired around 500 works during 10 visits to North Korea. They range in price from a couple $100s for posters to thousands of dollars for more valuable items.
We buy these as company, we organize exhibitions, and then we try to sell the works. And most of these has been shown in the first exhibition we held in Italy, really in the West, as a way of furthering, so to speak, the comprehension of a country and more so of a people which in the West are presented by stereotypes.
Per chi ama il mondo dell'arte non fa differenza dove questa viene prodotta.
It seems like the art tends to want to glorify, wants to provide a sort of a happy picture of life, whether it's real or not.
Yeah, no, well, the image they want to portray absolutely is, positive.
Almost all North Korean art is produced by a government arm called Mansudae. Established in 1959 to promote cultural goodwill, the studio amasses millions of dollars by spreading North Korean culture far and wide, including to more than 160 countries that it shares diplomatic ties with.
The Mansudae Art Studio is over 120,000 square meters.
That's a lot. That's a big studio.
Yeah, about 800 artists. It looks more or less like an American campus. There is a soccer field, there is a place for the children. Art has allowed me to get in touch with this unknown country and somewhat mysterious country.
Do you ever get criticism, though, from people who say that weren't you effectively lining the pockets of the North Korean regime?
No, I really don't.
You're not getting rich off North Korean propaganda?
Absolutely, absolutely. I was asked if I was representing Mansudae, and I was acting on behalf of it. And what I clarified is that I didn't act on behalf of it, but I was buying from them, and then since the sanctions went into effect, I haven't bought anything any longer.
As international sanctions pile up against the Kim regime, the trade of all art has been banned. Mansudae activities are now being scrutinized as an important financial pipeline. The UN even claimed it functions as a front to evade sanctions and bolster military dealings. Most of that scrutiny is aimed at China, North Korea's most important ally. Home to Mansudae's only satellite location, and in Beijing, the only gallery bearing its name.
我是08年入驻这个企业吧，也是跟美国佩斯画廊一起。
Ji is of North Korean and Chinese descent, and he's been the director of this gallery for 10 years.
可是这个老虎你看了没有？老虎，你喜不喜欢这幅画？老鼠的眼睛一直盯着你走，你过来，你过来，这个眼睛走，你看着这个。
Yeah, I see that.
He protests sanctions on art and Mansudae, claiming cultural products shouldn't be subject to political winds.
What sort of impact do you think you would see if North Korean art weren't allowed to be shown in galleries like this?
我从来没有想过，我们的艺术品不让展的那一天，这个是没有理由的。所以我觉得更大的注重点是推广朝鲜文化，因为对朝鲜文化了解 太少了。你没有基础，你没有根基，哪来的枝繁叶茂的可能性？
Xi buys most of the works directly from Mansudae and sometimes from dealers at Chinese markets, where he says he can strike a good deal.
其实是我纯粹做的是我自己的艺术，跟政治任何关系都没有。我一直强调的是，给我自己赚钱，不是政府赚钱，是我的事情，因为长者也是我。
Is there a lot of money to be made in North Korean art?
直接那么说有点太俗了。刚开始是那种想法来收藏的，可是现在呢，是我越来越喜欢这些画。而且这个是艺术品，也不是其他的什么军事武器啊什么的。
Xi refused to discuss the business side of his gallery, insisting he personally owned the thousands of works here.
This was a fascinating visit to this gallery, but anytime we started talking about money, Mr. Xi became a little defensive and a little bit cagier. And I think there's this overriding sense in the international community that any money that goes towards the regime is bad because it could fund any number of programs, illicit programs. But in some ways, the sanctions that have been slapped on North Korea actually makes the art more valuable, adds to the mystique around anything North Korea related.
One thing became clear during our time in China. Sanctions don't mean that North Korea isn't making money. As we contemplated whether the Mansudae art market was flourishing quietly despite sanctions, we came across a North Korean restaurant and filmed on our phones that it was in fact open for business. It's one of about 100 in the country, with dozens more across Asia.
Nothing says Korean like phagwa on white bread.
Employing North Korean workers abroad in industries from hospitality to construction annually generates at least $1 billion. And a growing portion isn't coming from traditional allies like China. The footprint of North Koreans is increasing in much less obvious places.
Unreal.
In at least 15 African countries, the Mansudae Overseas Project, a specialized section of the Mansudae Studio, earned the Kim regime $260 million by sending North Korean workers to build large-scale structures and monuments.
This is stunning.
Taking the art market we saw in Italy and China to an entirely new level.
This monument symbolizes Africa. Africa raising up from the deep ground and raising up to the sun. The sun meaning the new life. Whatever can say on North Korea, it is a specialized on building monument.
Standing 160 feet tall, this Mansudae monument is one of the largest statues in the world. It cost the Senegalese government $27 million, despite the country's struggling economy.
Alors, tout le budget, c'est le budget qui s'élève à 12 milliards. Mansudae, c'est eux qui ont investi, et ils ont été rétribués par un système de cession de terre.
Does the North Korean government and the Senegal government have a good relationship?
Yes, I think that if the Senegalese government accepts North Korean society to build this monument, it was because they have got a good relationship.
North Korea has cultivated ties with Africa since the Cold War, when it supported black liberation movements. Today, it's thought to maintain economic and military ties across the continent, a charge North Korea denies.
Nigerians identify with the DPRK, and they are so excited, and they want to get close to the DPRK, to us here in the developing world, to be able to call off the bluff of the so-called superpower, the world police, as some people will call the United States. It's quite interesting.
Al-Hassan is a professor at the University of Abuja. Over the years, he's become enamored with North Korea. He heads up a pro-North Korean association. and imparts its teachings to his students regularly.
So this all just gets stranger and stranger. We're here on the University of Abuja campus, attending an event where students, professors, and other academics have come together to essentially celebrate North Korea, celebrate the idea of self-reliance, the philosophy that essentially underpins the North Korea that we know it today.
Today, we came together basically to celebrate an ideology. We came together in order to celebrate a philosophy that refused to die, and that is the Juche philosophy.
Juche is a belief system that prizes self-reliance, developed by the founder of North Korea, Kim Il-sung.
Wow. Very surprising.
Yeah.
The Juche philosophy will chart a course for us. I'm the national chairman of adherents of the Juche idea in Nigeria. So that is a prime position as far as diplomatic ties are concerned between our two countries.
North Korea has lots of friends here on the continent.
North Koreans that are helping out in agriculture.
North Koreans physically involved in...
Yeah, I believe in some other countries like Tanzania, like Ethiopia, Namibia, Zambia. This is assistance. You know, the relationship with North Korea is not something based on economic terms. Okay, it's an assistance the DPRK is giving Africa to help Africa out, demanding for nothing.
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 No exchanges of goods,
of whatever, and
money.
No, those are just conjectures of Western powers because they are looking for every other way to isolate the DPRK.
I think the assumption is that there must be some exchange because this is a country that struggles to feed its own people.
Well, that is the narrative also that you are giving, that they depend on food stamps and the rest. These are just conjectures.
So you're saying that everything in the media, everything out there
not everything. Not everything.
So you're not worried about the sanctions?
I'm not worried. The sanctions have never worked. It will never work. And I think that is the problem. The West is yet to come to terms with. You see, Juche provides the fact that she depends less and less on the outside world.
So these are the two medals I got from the DPRK.
Allies in countries like Nigeria regard North Korea not as a pariah state, but a country with something to offer, now more than ever before.
This leader actually stunned me with his style of leadership. He has done a lot in terms of remolding the country.
It is those things that will liberate us.
Most Nigerians love DPRK.
Most Nigerians?
Most Nigerians.
Really?
Yeah.
The country, the political entity, or the idea of it?
All of them, because of his ability to stand up to Goliath.
Something dramatic could happen.
President Trump and Kim Jong-un will meet in just a matter of hours.
Kim Jong-un isn't playing games this time around.
The meeting between Trump and Kim Jong-un came after a period of heightened tensions, threats, and sanctions. Its ramifications could extend to Mansudae, North Korean businesses, and perhaps more importantly, to North Korean communities abroad.
The mother of Kim Jong-un, she was born here. This community.
Kim Jong-un's mom is from here?
Yeah.
There are up to 1 million Koreans in Japan, dating back to the early 20th century. Japan annexed the Korean peninsula and brought many people to work as laborers. Now, a lot of them identify as North Koreans.
Kim Jong-un's mom is from here. People must have a certain preconceived notion about what this place is.
Okay.
Like what else might be here? Spies, agents, business connections.
Yeah, they might be like people who is sending money to the DPRK, but they never mention that. If you mention that, you would get punishment from the
It's illegal.
Illegal
right?
Japanese government, right?
When the Korean War broke out in 1950, it halted the repatriation process, and many didn't have a home to go back to. North Koreans in Japan have long been discriminated against. They exist in the margins and largely work in vice industries like bars and gambling.
ここに日本っていう国に住んでたらすごい北朝鮮バッシングとかもあるんですね。アメリカとか多分他の国より。まあでもそれでも北朝鮮と 関連がないって言いたくもないし、どちらかというと言いたい、発表したい、堂々と。
So you still feel lots of discrimination?
沈黙のやっぱり差別みたいな。
でも They're not suspicious of you?
なんか疑ったりせえへん。
俺は疑ってる。普通には装ってるけど。お前だから例えば結婚するとか付き合ってるとか。
If you wanna get married, if you wanna get relationship, their parents would complain.
Loud and smoky in here. Pachinko is a widely popular form of gambling on slot machines. The pachinko industry that exists today was started by North Koreans in Japan.
ここの部分を触ってごめんなさい。もう僕らは焼肉とパチンコとそういう商売しか仕事がなかった。みんな貧乏でお金がなくて。
Since Korea split in two, it's North, not South, that sent money to the Korean community here for education and cultural programs. It's bred a strong sense of loyalty.
日本に住んでるけども、その朝鮮人のプライドを捨てちゃいけないと。朝鮮人らしく生きなきゃいけないと。学校ボロボロの豚小屋とかで勉強してたんで、貧乏だった時にそのいわゆる北朝鮮お金が来たんですよ。これで学校を作りなさいっていう、すごいたくさんお金が来た。韓国は何にもしてくれなかった。その時の恩があるんで教室の中にこの肖像画を飾ってたり、学校創設者みたいなもんですよね。